Good evening, everyone. Tonight is Monday, November the 14th, and this is the Cabarrus County Education Business Meeting. I'd like to bring this meeting to order. To begin with, we'll start off with our presentation of colors from the Air Force JROTC cadets from Northwest Cabarrus High School. The members of the Air Force JROTC unit from Northwest will present the colors, and they are Cadet Airman Derek Jones, Cadet Airman First Class Cade Frazier, Cadet Airman Nathan Bethia, Cadet Second Lieutenant Bianca Soto, and Cadet Airman Sarah Wood. And they are instructed by Lieutenant Colonel Calvin Martin, U.S. Air Force retired, and Master Sergeant Corinne Smith, U.S. Air Force retired. So if you will, you'll stand with me as we have the colors presented.
Color guard. Hold. Hold. Freeze then. Colors. Post. Forward. Arch.
You may be seated. Our national anthem was performed by the ensemble from Hickory Ridge High School and was directed by Mr. Chris White. The ensemblists included Allison Berger on the flute, Brandon Romeo on the clarinet, Kyle Crump on the alto saxophone, Jonathan Stitler on the tenor saxophone, and Hayden Alexander on the baritone saxophone. Many thanks to them for their participation. Board members, it's time to adopt an agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as written? Mr. Harrison makes the motion and Mr. Walter seconds that. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the agenda as written, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Agenda is adopted. Before we get going with our recognitions, I'd like to recognize our SRO tonight, our school resource officer, Deputy Tom Norman, is from the Royal Oaks Boger Elementary School complex this year. Thank you for your service, and I know you've got a busy work with 2 schools over there this year, and thank you. What was this? Just a little bit of work. Oh, okay. That's wonderful. Thank you for coming out tonight, Mr. Norman. All right, that brings us to our recognitions in the Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month Award. Dr. Louder is coming forward, Mr. Tim Vaughn, and Miss Ronnie Boone. Mr. Vaughn, thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Each month, we have the pleasure of introducing our Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month, and each month that we recognize a teacher is another opportunity to thank Tim Vaughn and Hilbish Ford for their generosity and support. Our Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month for November is Mrs. Carla Looney. Would Mrs. Looney and her family and any members of her school's administrative team please come forward? Stand forward a little bit for me. Yeah, on that. There you go. Carla Looney is a first grade teacher at Patriot STEM Elementary School. She was nominated for this award by a parent who wrote, "Mrs. Looney is an inspiration to all of her students. She is dedicated to making sure each student feels loved and gets whatever they need to be successful in school." The parent continued, "She has had such an impact on my child, and I'm thankful for her every day. My little one was a struggling reader who is now excited to read and show off everything she has learned from Mrs. Looney. Please choose Mrs. Looney for this award. Her love for kids is immeasurable, and our love for her and what she does for kids is the same. Mrs. Looney, we thank you for your commitment and dedication to your students and to making sure that each student and family feels loved. Please allow Dr. Louder and Mr. Vaughn to present you with your award, and then let the board members congratulate you." Thank you, Tim.
Our next recognition will be the Impact Through Education Awards. Ms. Boone will be presenting those to us.
Thank you. Tonight, thanks to the generosity of our sponsors, the Cabarrus Regional Chamber and BB&T, who is our presenting sponsor, we will be able to offer Impact Through Education Awards to students and staff members at Pitt School Road Elementary School and Cabarrus Kannapolis Early College High School. We are grateful for the support that these sponsors give us, and they give us the opportunity to recognize our students and staff each month, and we appreciate these successful partnerships. Now on to tonight's awards. First up is Pitt School Road Elementary School, and I'd like to invite any members of the Pitt School Road Elementary administrative team to come forward to stand with their students and staff. Yes, now you can go. Our first honoree from Pitt School Road Elementary this evening is, let me find my papers here, is Cameron Cloyes. Would Cameron and her family please come forward? That everybody? No? Okay. Cameron is a student who always has a smile on her face and is ready to be her best at school. She sets an example in all her actions and interactions with teachers and her peers. She's kind, compassionate, and always accepting of others. She places a high priority on performing her best each day in the classroom in all subjects and all areas. When looking for an example to encourage other students to follow, her teachers state that they can always count on her. Congratulations, Cameron. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for Pitt School Road Elementary School. Congratulations. Our next honoree from Pitt School Road Elementary is Morgan Gregory. Would Morgan and his family please come forward? Morgan is a student who exemplifies the character and commitment of a Pitt School Road Panther. His previous teachers, current teachers, and special area teachers all state that he brings his best attitude and work ethic each day. He has high expectations for himself and embraces the school's PBIS tenets and commitment by always making choices that are respectful, responsible, and safe. He cares for his friends and fellow students at all times. Congratulations, Morgan. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for Pitt School Road Elementary School. Congratulations. Our next honoree is Ms. Mary Kresge. Would Ms. Kresge and her family please come forward? Mary serves as an exceptional children's teacher and impacts all her students at a dynamic level. What sets Mary apart is her attitude of excellence in every detail of her job. She expects a tremendous effort from each student every single day and goes above and beyond to support each child and meet their individual academic, emotional, and social needs. She collaborates with teachers and staff to create the best plan of support for each child. Watching her work with students is truly magical and wonderful. She is a huge asset to Pitt School Road Elementary School, Cabarrus County Schools, and to her students. Congratulations, Mrs. Kresge. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for Pitt School Road Elementary. You guys can go too. And our final Pitt School Road Elementary School honoree this evening is Ms. Lydia Talent. Would Ms. Talent and her family please come forward? Lydia's job description calls for her to provide support for hearing impaired students in both small groups and within the classroom. She does this in a professional manner and always ensures students learn at the highest levels. However, she also impacts the school in so many other areas. She is passionate about working with students to make sure they feel comfortable in their environment and empowered to be their best. She works great with the school's exceptional children's team and with all support staff. She also goes above and beyond to serve as a translator whenever the need arises. She never hesitates and always supports no matter the need. Her commitment to the school and students is truly outstanding. Congratulations, Mrs. Talent, and thank you for all that you do. And now for our honorees from Cabarrus Kannapolis Early College High School. I'd like to invite Ms. Carla Black to come forward to stand with her students and staff. And she is her administrative team. Our first honoree from Cabarrus Kannapolis Early College is Damilola Ibitoye. Would Damilola and his family please come forward? Damilola, or Dami, is a fixture at the Early College High School. He can be seen participating in every aspect of early college life. Besides the fact that he is an honor student who holds a 4.0 grade point average and has received more than $80,000 in scholarships so far, he is one of the most respectful and congenial young men on the campus. He serves as student government class president and continues to be on the dean's list and has perfect attendance. One little known fact about Dami is that his family moved from Nigeria when he was 7 years old. Another little known fact is that his older sister graduated from the early college, and since Dami is highly competitive, he is seeking to top her scholarship total and attend North Carolina State University, the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, or Queen's University, and major in business administration. This fall, Dami received the prestigious Noon Optimist Award as he was overwhelmingly the school's choice and recommended by the staff. The entire staff truly reveres Damilola and as one of the best students that has come through the early college. Congratulations to you, Dami. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for the Early College High School. Our next early college honoree is Kayla Latta. Would Kayla and her family please come forward? Kayla is known for her unwavering dedication and support behind the scenes. She can be found working extremely hard, mentoring and tutoring her fellow peers, serving on student government or the prom committee, making sure the early college family has a quality experience in every aspect of early college life. She is not one for boasting or self-promotion. She's a humble young lady who puts the needs of others before her own. An academic all-star, Kayla holds a 4.8 grade point average and is a member of the National Honor Society. She will graduate with an associate's degree in science, in addition to earning her high school diploma. In her spare time, she can be found throwing the softball or playing her clarinet. She also enjoys volunteering in her community as much as she can. Kayla plans to attend North Carolina State University or the University of North Carolina at Wilmington to earn her degree eventually a PhD in zoology or marine biology. She plans to work with animals in whatever capacity she can, whether it be in an animal hospital, a zoo, or even SeaWorld. She hopes to one day own her own animal care clinic, zoo, or aquarium. In a traditional school, it would be easy to overlook those worker bees and guardian angels that make the school feel like a true community. At the early college, Kayla puts her best effort forward to make the school feel like a family and shine bright. Congratulations, Kayla. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for the Early College High School. Our next honoree from Cabarrus Kannapolis Early College is Elizabeth Thompson. Would Ms. Thompson and her family please come forward? Sometimes schools are more than just schools. They are safe havens that provide a sense of belonging to every kind of kid every single day. Those schools are usually led by teachers and administrators who exude the genuine, loving guidance for students and staff alike. The care and compassion for supporting kids and people is contagious and permeates the entire culture of the school. The early college has several great examples of this, but the one beacon that shines brighter than all of them is Elizabeth Thompson. While she loves serving and working behind the scenes, the students, family, and staff at the early college all know that her strength, dedication, and enduring love for the entire school family is what makes the early college a real family. Elizabeth is in her 8th year at the early college, and she has served as yearbook, art club, and international club advisor. She coordinates the school talent show and, most recently, its flag football tourney with other local early colleges. In addition to this, she serves as lead mentor and PLC chairperson. She has also completed the district's leadership cohort. Elizabeth enjoys making sure that every child comes to the early college knowing that they are loved and cared for and will be challenged to be the best early college student they can possibly be. One of the early college students said, "Mrs. Thompson is a positive role model that is truly compassionate. She is dedicated to her job and to her students that she influences. She is highly respected." We are grateful for Mrs. Thompson's unwavering support and dedication to the early college program. She is one of the main reasons the school has received the recognition it has across the state. Congratulations, Ms. Thompson. And our final early college honoree this evening is Ms. Yolanda Blakeney. Would Ms. Blakeney and her family please come forward? Ms. Blakeney has served as a chemistry teacher at the Early College and is currently serving as Dean of Students. She serves a wealth of information and support for our students and staff when addressing matters related to instruction on both the high school and college side of the house. She maintains high expectations for herself as well as for her students and staff. She is nationally board certified, and whenever the opportunity presents, she can be found helping students with their college chemistry classes or with balancing the responsibilities of high school, college, and life in general. She wears many hats. You will see her greeting students on the bus lot with a smile, and if you attend one of the school's dances, you might catch her in a dance battle with a student. One early college student said, "When you walk the halls of the early college, you see many smiling faces to greet you. You see the many activities that our students participate in, and you see the learning communities that they sit in every day. Right in the middle of all of this, there's an office that belongs to one of our most valuable staff members, Ms. Blakeney. She wears many hats at the early college, from the chemistry class to an activity bus driver, all the way up to administration. Ms. Blakeney has been all over the school. She's also the mother figure or second mother to some of the students. When there's a bad behavior or someone's having trouble staying focused in their classes, she's there to keep them in line. Ms. Blakeney works as one of the vertebrae that keeps our school standing straight." Definitely high praise from a student. Congratulations, Ms. Blakeney. You are an Impact Through Education Award winner for Cabarrus Kannapolis Early College High School. Thank you.
Dr. Hill is at the microphone, and she's going to be talking about the Global Education Ready Schools.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Harris Road Middle School and Harrisburg Elementary Schools were recognized at the State Board of Education meeting earlier this month for the work in the area of global education. Dr. Lauder and Jessica Gardner, who is our Curriculum and Global Education Coordinator, were present as these schools were honored in Raleigh. Would the administrative teams and families of Harrisburg Elementary School and Harris Road Middle School please come forward? We are so proud of Harris Road Middle and Harrisburg Elementary School. These schools embody the vision of Cabarrus County Schools, and that is to produce globally competitive, lifelong learners through rigorous and relevant curriculum taught by highly prepared visionary leaders who recognize the importance of engaging a diverse body of learners. Harris Road Middle and Harrisburg Elementary also are reflective of the State Board's Education's vision to assure that every public student will graduate ready for post-secondary education and work, prepared to be a globally engaged and productive citizen. The State Board of Education took action to provide statewide infrastructure that supports and guides education in a common vision for global education in North Carolina public schools, and designated recognition for educators, schools, and districts that demonstrate significant focus and dedication in preparing students to be globally engaged and productive students. 4 public schools achieved full designation and were present at the November State Board meeting for official recognition. 2 of those 4 schools were Cabarrus County schools, Harrisburg Elementary and Harris Road Middle. These schools have effectively implemented systems and processes to support global readiness. Many components of global education are embedded in school-wide and are shown positive impact on students. So we have a plaque that was presented to them, and it says Harrisburg Elementary and Harris Road Middle School have been recognized as prepared global-ready schools by the North Carolina State Board of Education. Please join me in congratulating these schools.
Okay. Ms. Boone is here, and Mr. Chuck Taylor are all going to come up to the podium, and we've got a special employee recognition.
Is Ms. Wenzel here? Ms. Wenzel, would you please join Mr. Taylor up front? And then I'd also like for Mr. Dwayne McDaniel to come forward. We all know that the people who work in our school system are what makes us great. We know that they are dedicated and committed and always willing to go that extra mile. Tonight I want to introduce you to Mr. Dwayne McDaniel, who is someone who not only went the extra mile, but his diligence prevented a bad situation from turning into something much, much worse. Mr. McDaniel is the head custodian at the Mary Frances Wall Center, and on Tuesday, October 4th, he was able to prevent a catastrophic failure of the building's HVAC system. Due to his thorough knowledge of the facility and his quick thinking, he prevented the system from causing further damage to itself and possibly damaging the entire school building. His selfless actions reflect his professionalism and his fine character. He is to be commended for his actions, and Cabarrus County Schools is grateful that he is a part of our school system. And I know Mr. Taylor has a special plaque to present to Mr. McDaniel. Did you get a picture? Did you get one of them? Okay. Okay.
All right, board members, that carries us to approval of the minutes. In section 5, 5.1 is approval of the minutes, and we have two sets, October the 3rd and October the 10th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written? Mr. Harrison makes the motion. Is there a second to that motion? Mr. Furr seconds that. Any discussion about the minutes that we're going to approve? All right, let's vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from October the 3rd and October the 10th as written, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. All right, that motion approves 6-0. And that moves us on to board chair comments, and I will pass on to Dr. Louder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few things I want to highlight this evening. First, I'm excited to announce our district has received its second I-3 grant from the U.S. Department of Education. This $3 million grant will allow us to develop EMPOWER, which stands for Expanding Magnet Program Options and Widening Educational Reach, which addresses and promotes diversity across our school district, especially among the magnet programs. Special thanks to Dr. Jason Van Hukelum, who began this process before he left, and to Bridget Jones and Brenda Eason, who took over the reins to make sure we didn't drop any balls and get the grant submitted. Our district is one of only 2 traditional K-12 school districts in the nation to receive the grant. One of the requirements of the grant is to secure private sector funding, which we are working on right now, and we are very excited to be implementing EMPOWER. I want to congratulate the Cox Mill High School girls volleyball team on its state championship. And I also want to congratulate Kate Earnhardt, a student at Concord High School, for her win as the state champion in singles tennis. Both of these championships are historic. Cox Mill's because it's the first team championship in the school's history, and Kate's because it's the first state girls tennis championship in Cabarrus County history. We encourage students to participate in the 6th annual Holiday E-Card Design Contest. Winning designs will be featured as my personal holiday greeting to superintendents across the state and to local elected officials, business, and community members. The deadline to submit designs for this is December the 2nd. Last week, our district was honored with the Benjamin Trigo Award for Strategic Leadership in Education. This award is given to school districts that achieve enduring results using Trigo Ed tools for collaborative problem solving and decision making. We first began using Trigo Ed tools to guide our decision making in the budget process, which includes stakeholders from inside and outside the school system. We also use Trigo Ed processes in other areas such as math achievement, technology planning, choosing student programs, hiring decisions, and developing and implementing our comprehensive school choice plan. We want to say a special thanks to Amy Louder, who has continued the training through this when some of the other trainers have dropped off. The window to apply for any of the Cabarrus County Schools choice programs is now open. That opened today, and as of this afternoon, there were already 92 applications for Cabarrus County Schools. Applications are available online via the school district website, the school choice website, and school websites. No paper copies of the application are available, but you can fill out an application, use a computer at a school if you don't have accessibility. The deadline to submit an application is December the 21st at noon. Next week, we will celebrate Thanksgiving. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and are able to spend quality time with your family and friends. In the spirit of the holiday, I hope as you reflect on what you're thankful for, that our remarkable community and our outstanding school system will make your lists. Enjoy your break and be safe. And finally, I want to say congratulations to Chairman Shoemaker and board members David Harrison and Rob Walter on their re-election to the school board. I also want to congratulate Cindy Furtenbaugh, who's here tonight, on her return to the board, and say thank you to Dr. Jeff Phillips for his service on the board these past 4 years.
Dr. Phillips, would you like to make some comments before
Well,
we move on?
I'll just say that with Ms. Furtenbaugh replacing me and the rest of you staying on the board, that I'm absolutely confident in saying that our school district is in good hands and we have a great superintendent, so keep it up, guys and gals.
And Dr. Phillips, don't worry, we will ask you to help. Maybe you can serve on the budget committee with Ms. Klutz. All right. I'm sorry, all joking aside, let me move on so that we don't drag this out. We have guest speakers tonight, and before I get started, before I begin to ask them to come up and speak, let me read about guest speakers. In accordance with Board Policy 2310, as revised by the board on May the 11th, 2015, a part of each business meeting will be set aside for citizens to address the board. Sign-up cards will be available for any individual or group to indicate their desire to address the board. Speakers must hand a completed card to the board clerk no later than 6 p.m., the normal start time of the regularly scheduled monthly business meeting. The board chair will decide the time devoted to public comments. Speakers must complete a contact information card including their name, group name if applicable, address, and a phone number, and list the general education-related topic of their presentation for the board minutes. To begin with, our first speaker is Ms. Dorothea Wortham Huey, and she's come to speak to us about bullying in schools. I believe there's a little button there, or Ms. Probst will help you.
Yes,
So
it's
there you
talk.
go. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, good night, distinguished board chair, vice chair, and the board members. My name is Dorothea Huey, and I am the grandmother of 18 grandchildren. I have been volunteering. My twins will be 49 on Thursday. So I have been volunteering with Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system for 44 years. I do not intend to stop. I think education is very important, and that's why I'm here tonight, to talk about bullying in school. I have a grandson that's number 17. I'm going to ask Austin to stand up. This is my grandson. It's hard to go to school every day when you think somebody's going to pick on you. It's very hard. You get to the place where you don't want to go. You be sick a lot of mornings. You come up with any kind of excuse not to go. But just imagine a 9-year-old in 4th grade with his whole life ahead of him. And it's the teacher that's bullying you. I am so outdone till my daughter has decided to take him out of the school and to homeschool him. This is the first grandchild that ever been taken out of public school because of situations out of our control. But the school board is in control. We just asking for help. What do you do when everything your child does, the teacher nitpicks it? I mean, every day. My daughter sent him a text on Friday and said that, okay, I'm through, I'm done. I can't take any more. As of Monday, November the 14th, Austin will be homeschooled. So today, the teacher sent a text by phone and said, Austin has been presented with an award for a star reader. But then he goes on to say, but he went to science class and he threw his experiment on the floor because it didn't work. When do you stop that? How do you stop that when the teacher is in control of your child's life and you want your child to finish school? We have lawyer friends, and they said that 4th grade and 9-year-olds is when most black African Americans decide whether or not they're going to finish school or not. Well, Austin don't have any choice because education is important, okay? So he's going to finish school, but does he do it in the midst of his friends, or does he do it home alone? Now that you say no child is left behind, when do we leave him behind? What do we do when the situation when they say, let's stop and start over, but they won't stop? You tell your child to be respectful, but your child is to the point where they allow him to go up and call his mom and say, can you please come and get me? I just can't do any more today. And it's all times of the day. So school board members, please help us. I don't know what else to do. We have tried everything. And there's still some more that I am willing to try. The mother saying, just forget it. But what if it happens to your child? Who's the next child that's going to be picked on? And if the mother or father cannot homeschool it, what happens to that 9-year-old? I'm at a loss. Never had to do this before. and if God willing, never do this again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Huey. Our next speaker will be Ms. Amy Girdman. And if Ms. Amy Girdman will please come forward. Her subject is her son had a head injury.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm a little bit nervous. I've never really came out and spoke about this before, but I guess you have to start somewhere, right? On May 7th of 2011, my son, Sean Gerdeman, suffered a traumatic brain injury, a subdural hematoma, while playing football. At that point of his life, everything changed. On May 7th, I'm a little bit nervous, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be strong for my son and do this. On May 7th, the accident happened, and once the accident happened, he was out of school for the remainder of the year. We had contact with the school and the guidance counselor and administrators the entire time, letting them know what was going on with his condition. He was promoted the next year as a sophomore, did not receive any help. I'm not here to put down a school. I'm not here to put down a teacher or a principal, an assistant principal, anything, or guidance counselor, anybody. When it comes to traumatic brain injuries, it's not only the medical, but it's also the educated professionals that are unaware of all the effects that it has. On December 17th, 2012, 3 days after the Sandy Hook shooting, my son was in an altercation at I don't want to say school, at the school, and he had been threatened that he was going to be hit from behind with a tire iron. And in the middle of this nobody touched, they were yelling at each other, and someone came up behind and grabbed him forcefully. When they did, he pulled back and went to hit the person, and it was a teacher 3 days after Sandy Hook. So we all know how we were at that time. He ran off the school premises. They chased him and finally got him to come back. When I got to the school, these were dark days for me because I lost a son that I once had. And his behavioral changed, and I was lost. I also had my own health issues going on. So when I got there, they advised me what happened. And I said to them, you know he has a traumatic brain injury. You know that he has behavioral issues. They looked at me and said, no, it's not in his notes, it's not anywhere. There was multiple emails, multiple conversations with the guidance counselor. He did come in and speak. He said, yes, he does have this, he does have that, but they said, we're going to go ahead and suspend him. You have to appear in front of the school board, and they'll probably put him in the Glenn Center. What is a TBI? A TBI under federal law means an acquired injury to the brain by an external physical force resulting in a partial or in a total functional disability or psychosocial impairment, or both, that adversely affects the student's educational performance. And he was put into the Glenn Center. So we tried the Glenn Center. He quit school. I tried to homeschool him. I couldn't do it. I had no help. I was lost. I did not realize until years later, after educating myself with the Fellow-Waller Concussion Act, that it was just spoken about a minute ago, the No Child Left Behind Act, that my son was protected. The entire time he was protected. Hold on one second. The No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 was a U.S. Act of Congress which reauthorized the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. It included Title I provisions applying to disadvantaged students, and the goal was to provide equal education opportunities for disadvantaged students, such accommodations as an IEP or a 504 plan. 504 legal rights for people with disabilities and includes accommodation. The No Child Left Behind was changed to Every Student Succeeds Act in 2015, One key point is it advances by upholding critical protections for America's disadvantaged and high-needs students. It's too late now. I am very proud of my son to this day. He did get his GED. He works very hard. When I see the reports that the neurologist give me that tell me what he's battling with, I am so proud of him. Like I said again, it wasn't just the school system that failed him. It was me. It was my husband. It was everybody. And when I realized the laws that were in place, I realized that I needed to come forward and speak so that this does not happen to any other child in the school system. I have 2 pictures of my son that I'm going to leave with y'all tonight. And when you hear a story like this again, when somebody gets in trouble in school, know everything about them. Know if they had problems. Just know these things, because he was left behind. And but anyways, you have 32,000 students in Cabarrus County, 2,200 teachers, and 42 schools. So I'm hoping that somewhere this can help. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gerdeman. Our next speaker will be Ms. Wilma Means, and she's coming up to talk about free college application. Is this free college application month?
It's week.
Week,
It
okay.
started today.
Thank you.
First of all, I had an article in the paper, and I've called around. Last year, a lot of the students were not aware of it in their high schools. I talked to some at high schools today, and some still are not. What it is free college application week, and there's a list of colleges from Barton, Bennett, Belmont Abbey, Brevard, Catawba, Chowan, Davison, all the way to Winston-Salem State, North Carolina A&T, and all of those schools. And what it is, you register through College Foundation of North Carolina, and you do it on the computer. Well, a lot of what I do in the community under the auspices of the Optimist Club is help children go to college and help them fill out applications. And if we can get waivers, I know kids, students with free and reduced lunch can get waivers for college applications and for AP tests. But the other children don't know, and they, may not have the money. Also, many of the students I work with don't have computers. They don't have access to the internet. They have access at school, but at one of the schools, students were saying an announcement was made on the intercom, and they went in the library, and nobody was in the library to help them. So I'm also a part of retired school personnel, so that might be someone you can tap into and invite them or parents, PTO, to come and help students to apply for colleges this week. And as I said, it started today and it goes until Friday. CFNC.org is one of the vehicles in North Carolina that's available to all the students, and you can register as young as middle school. The other thing, I am a proud graduate of Winston-Salem State, and I visit all the high schools, and what I've done, I brought pennants for each high school, and I want to donate it to you or whatever in each high school, because some have these pennants on the wall. I visit high schools from Seattle to Atlanta to Florida. Any state I go to visit, I try and go to a high school and introduce myself and tour. A lot of them have pennants, and I know Concord High and some of the others, but I hadn't seen them in Winston-Salem State. So anyway, I have these 7, and I want to donate 1 to each school, and I'd like to challenge each of you who have graduated from a college, maybe more than 1, I have 2, but I figure somebody else can do UNCC. But challenge others to maybe just donate, it's just 7 pennants, and donate them to the school, and they in turn can put them up, because this is one of the schools that does have free application this week. Catawba's one, Davison's one, Chowan, A&T, Mount Olive, Elizabeth City, Wingate. There are a lot of schools that any student can apply to free this week. Thank you. I'll give that to
Thank you.
Superintendent chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Means.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
We've got that list.
That's good. Good.
Thank you again, Ms. Means. All right, that carries us, folks, to the consent agenda, and we're going to approve the consent agenda based on a motion from someone here. And Mr. Furr makes the motion. David Harrison, I believe, seconded that motion. Is there any conversation about it? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor of the consent agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, so the consent agenda is approved with 6-0. That moves us to the action agenda. And we had a number of policies that were on the action agenda associated with the Iranian Divestiture Act. And Ms. Reimer and Ms. Burns are up to help us if we need any help. Board members, I'll turn this over to you. Are there any comments or questions? Mr. Walter?
Yeah, this is just an example of unnecessary adding of language to 9 of our different policies. We have this Iran Divestiture Act, and it says basically if a person provides goods or services of $20 million or more within a 12-month period in the energy sector of Iran, including persons that provide oil, liquefied natural gas tankers, the products used to construct or maintain pipelines, or to transport oil or liquefied natural gas for the energy sector of Iran, that, if you do that, we're saying you can't deal with the school board. The chances of any company having any influence or any connections to this is like zero. In fact, it has a state treasurer that's supposed to compile a list of these companies that you're not supposed to do business with. Well, that list, if you go online and look at it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 companies, all from on the other side of the world there, China and Korea and India. Again, nobody that we deal with. I think just a reference to the required statute would have been sufficient to go in and mess with 9 of our policies for this. I think is unnecessary. That was why I've been opposing of it.
All right. Anybody else have comments or questions on this?
Well, I would
Miss-
ask why,
Miss
our
Carpenter.
attorney, they're strongly recommending it. Why, if it is something that's unnecessary, why are they strongly recommending it?
Excuse me, the way the act is worded is that we have to receive a verification from vendors or contractors that we hire for them to certify that they're not on this list. I agree with Mr. Walter that it's probably a very small likelihood that we would ever do business with one of these people. However, it's a requirement under the law that we obtain this certification. And so I view it, and I believe the School Board Association, when they proposed these policy revisions, viewed it as a check we're supposed to do, just like when we hire contractors, we require them to certify that their personnel have undergone background checks, just like we require contracts to have the pre-audit certification from our chief financial officer. And so because it is a requirement when we contract that it be one of the boxes that get checked, so to speak, it's the recommendation that it be in all the various purchasing policies so that when someone is making a purchase pursuant to one policy, they see what the required steps are. And because it is an actual required affirmation, that's the reason to include it in there. So it's not just a prohibition on us from hiring them, it's actually a requirement that they certify that they are not on this list.
Mr. Harrison?
Are there any similar kind of global requirements coming down the pike that we might know of? Sorry to put you on the spot there, but I mean, this is pretty onerous, but the point is it's a mandate, it's required, and that's, with all due respect to Mr. Walter's point, he's right, but the fact of the matter is this is voices down on all school systems across the whole country, I suspect. But are there other global types of things like this that we can foresee or know of, and can we manage those differently? And if not, we'll just take it one by one when it comes down to that. I mean, I understand the politics of this Iran divestiture act, but are there other things that will take up as much time as this particular spate of policy changes has over the last few months that you know of?
From a state legislation purchasing perspective, not that I'm aware of. However, there are a whole host. We've already seen a sort of a long list from the reauthorization ESSA recently, and a few other laws on the federal level that have gotten changed. But I can say, to my knowledge, from a a state purchasing perspective, this is the only one that I'm aware of with this sort of very specific requirement that goes into a number of policies, and it's not just directed at school districts. It's directed at all public entities in North Carolina. So the cities and the counties and so forth are all, and then the university system, they're all being subject to this requirement.
And is it better to make these changes in each policy or to make it to the top 6,000 level or 8,000 level or 7,000 level? Master policy, do it one time and it applies to everything thereunder, or do we need to do it individually? When that kind of thing hits again, it just takes a lot of time to do this.
My preference is that we do insert it into each policy, because each of these are very specific purchasing policies, and when someone is making a certain type of purchase, they typically go to the policy of what it is they're purchasing to look for the checks. And so my recommendation would be to accept the PLS updates as presented. It adds, basically a single sentence to all of the policies and otherwise does not significantly change them.
Mr. Farr?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, since I think we've heard probably enough on this subject, and I make a motion to approve it as is.
All right. Mr. Farr makes the motion. Mr. Harrison, did you second that?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Any more discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the policy and revisions and the PLS updates for approval on the second reading as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, so that motion carries 5-1, and that moves us on to our next item, which is the approval of Helping Hands program for teachers. Ms. Carolyn Carpenter will present.
Okay. Okay.
You want stereo?
Yeah, stereo. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, we had discussed this some last week, and we made some adjustments on this. This was a program, kind of briefly go back over this. I was thanks to Dr. Hill, I was able to go into Harris Road on the tour, and this basically got me thinking, which sometimes dangerous, but I was able to go into some of the classrooms and saw some of the teachers, and it got me thinking. I went into, first of all, I went into a science class and saw a teacher there, and he was doing some experiments, and in these experiments he had was using some of the cups and had straws and had a couple things of paper towels, and then he had made a mixture he was using made of cabbage and vinegar, and I thought to myself, now I know that teacher probably had to take every bit of that for those supplies, and he probably had to take that money out of his pocket and pay for those things. Also, he was doing another experiment where he had bought 4 different types of light bulbs, and he had measured the temperature of each of those light bulbs to show those students, and he probably had 25, maybe 30 students in that class, so that was a lot of supplies. Then we went to another classroom. There was probably 25, 30 students in that classroom, and they were doing gathering of food where they had to gather food and had to make shelter, and the teacher had all kinds of, she was using cardboard, and she had to have popsicle sticks and clay, and there was 25, 30 children in that class, plus they were doing all this moving around, and she was in there by herself, unlike our elementary classes where they have aides and everything, and they were having to run to her and add up their points, and I mean, it was a lot of activity going on, and I thought, boy, she could really use a helping hand. She could use a volunteer maybe, and also she had a lot of supplies that she was using, and I kept going and thinking about this, and I thought, you know, and I've heard this over and over again, how much teachers and the supplies they have to buy themselves. And I know from being on budget committee, our supply budget has been cut over the years anywhere from 20 to 50% over the, you know, since 2008. I know we keep seeing our supply budget having to be cut. So I started thinking, you know, what can I do to help these teachers? Maybe give them supplies that they need, that they want, that would help them maybe with some of this cost. Now, I got a teacher sitting down here, and I don't know if she wants to tell me how much she kind of takes out of her pocket each month or each week to buy supplies. Would you mind sharing that with me?
I don't have an exact amount, but yeah, there is a lot that comes out of our pocket.
That you have to, well, with this program, what I'm suggesting, and the board had talked about, that this program would help the teachers with the cost of supplies many are paying out of their pocket. This program could also give them a helping hand with volunteers if they needed one for a special project. Points of this program would be get the names, school, and phone numbers of teachers, and I checked with Ms. Jones, and she said we could get this information. Well, we had talked about that each board member could pick a name out and call the teacher. We said, well, that teacher may feel funny if a board member picked up the phone and said, hey, I'm Miss Carpenter. I want to get you some supplies. So we thought of another idea, which that they came up with, that maybe we could get a form, and they helped me get a form up here, and I'd give you where the teacher, we could maybe send it over the internet to them, and they could fill out this form, and instead of us calling them and saying that, and they could tell us if they need volunteer hours or what supplies they need, and then they could send the form back to us, and then we could just pick up the form. But each board member could pick a form out, and then we would and we put a limit of, say, $20 to $25 per week, and then we could deliver it to the school. And if we wanted to pick more than 4 a month, we could do that, and that was okay. And then we could open this up also to businesses and other staff members, and they could give money or ask, and they could pick names, and they could deliver them to schools too. And this way we could reach more teachers. This program would help teachers with the cost of supplies, and this would let the boards visit different schools and also volunteer if they needed, teachers would need for special projects. To me, this is a win for all, teachers, the system, the schools, and also for the citizens. And then the delivery, we could kind of figure out how we wanted to do it, you know, put it on the email and then send it out to schools, and maybe at the principals meeting, you could mention this helping hands at the principals meeting and say, hey, get your teachers to fill this out. And like I say, if you board members can't deliver yours, I'll deliver them for you. And I thought maybe I could even mention this at the Chamber of Commerce to see if they would like to get businesses to. I'll go do it. I really think this would be great, and I want to start it as soon as possible. So y'all approve this. Any questions? And you see the form. Here's the form.
Has anybody got comments for Ms. Carpenter or questions?
No, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I move to approve.
I'll second.
Oh, okay.
I'll third it, fourth it.
All right, so we have a motion before us, and Mr. Furr has moved that we adapt the motion to do the Helping Hands program. Ms. Carpenter has seconded that motion. Is there any other additional discussion on this?
Who can put it on, or who would put it on? That's my only question. You made up the form. Who can put it on? We would do HR put it on, or who could put it on? Put it on the system,
website.
so teachers can get it. Here you go. Put it on.
Well,
right,
Ms. Carpenter,
so
my
Mr.
only little
Harrison.
comment, Ms. Carpenter, my only little comment would be to open it up to our state legislators who would see the need firsthand, and they would see firsthand the need that they should really redress at the state level for a more sustainable and a more equitable distribution of supplies. It's meaningful, it matters, it is a good gesture. But in terms of what the teachers need in the classroom, Raleigh should be doing a whole lot more of the heavy lifting and giving each of the counties and the LEAs the means to actually make a huge dent and answer those needs. But I see your point. But I would say take it to our immediate legislators as well and let them see what the real needs are.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mr. Walter?
Again, I think there's definitely a need. I've gone in classrooms and I've seen similar things where the teachers are taking out of their own pocket just to provide a lesson plan. I'd like to see more of an impact, though, to hit more teachers. I mean, I'd like to see us make a Helping Hands fund out of our savings account. Maybe, if there's 2,000 teachers times $25 or $50, and have a fund that starts it out. So then we're impacting, up to 2,000 teachers instead of just a couple handful that happen to contact us. At least that gives everybody an opportunity to, if they have that need, there's someplace to go, and I think that's would be more impactful. But I do there is a need, and I appreciate you highlighting that in front of us tonight. Thank you.
Well, I'll take one. You give me some money, I'll go deliver them. You give me the money, I'll do it.
Well, we have quite a bit in our savings accounts, so we can possibly use some of that.
We can budget
right.
some next year, but you get it, I'll get it out there.
Go through the budget process, just like everything else does.
Well, my only concern, Ms. Carpenter, about this is how do we keep teachers from feeling left out? We start submitting this. I mean, if we get 2,500 responses, that will be, how do we juggle that and making sure that we don't hurt feelings in the process?
I'll get them. You get them for me, they'll get them. I'll get them to them. You don't worry. If I can deliver to every school, I can do it. I'll get it done. You give me the money, and you give me the names. Yeah, but when you send stuff out, how many times you get everything returned? But if you give me the names, it'll get done.
Well, do you think it would be better to try a centralized process where we could?
Well, see, we're going to put it on the internet. They're going to fill it out. They're going to send it back.
Okay. But then we still have specific names that we'll be working with.
Well, it'll be every teacher is going to get the thing, so they got to send it back because they got to fill it out so we know what to get. Okay. So everybody will get it.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes,
not
sir.
to argue with her.
I'm not arguing.
I'm just kidding.
Trying to discuss. Yeah. All right. Well, board members, we have a motion before us, the Helping Hands program. I think we'll have to work on the execution. That will be the biggest piece, is how do we execute this? So first, let's get to where we have to execute. So board members, it's
So we're
Mr. Walter, did you have?
we're approving the concept. I think that's great.
Yeah. So, yes, and then we'll have to figure out how the details work on this as we go forward. So, anyway, so we have the motion, the Helping Hands program. Ms. Reimer will help Ms. Carolyn Carpenter a little bit, a whole lot, or somewhere in between. All right, so, board members, it's time to vote. All in favor of approving the Helping Hands program, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, so it passes 6-0. There's still some logistical issues that we need to work on.
We'll get them.
So, thank you. That carries us on to our next level of convening in closed session. There will need to be a motion to convene in closed session, and that will be pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body. Also, General Statute 143-318.11A6 to consider qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, etc. Also, to pursuant to General Statute 115C-319 through 321, and to discuss Sheeler versus Cabarrus County Board of Education and Mullery versus Cabarrus County Board of Education. And I don't know what this is. What's a 15 CVS 2739?
That's just the case file number.
Okay, thank you. And so, board members, there's a need for a motion. Do I have one? That was Mr. Harrison,
Second.
and Ms. Carpenter seconded that motion. All in favor of going into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, we're now in closed session.